in Israel at this moment. We're going to bring in Israeli government spokesperson, Tal Heinrich. Tal, great to have you with us here to give us a true perspective. What are you hearing from the ground? How are the people of Israel doing? Not talking about the military part, but the actual Israelis. I know a lot of people who live over there, and I know every day is a challenge for them. They're terrified.
You defined it very well. Every day is a challenge. We are a nation that is still mourning. We are 3 weeks after the October 7th massacre. And you have to understand that every person in the country knows someone or was directly affected by this massacre, someone who was killed, someone who was abducted. We have 240 hostages, 242 rather, being held in Gaza in captivity, including babies, toddlers, the elderly, a Holocaust survivor. That is outrageous. And everyone knows someone who's serving on the front lines and as part of the reserve force or as part of active duty. So we are all united in this. We are all standing behind our military and behind our leadership. We have a unity government now, and our resolve is very clear. We are going to dismantle Hamas. We have decided as a nation that their terrorist regime can be no longer. We can no longer live next to a terrorist enclave ruled by Hamas.
Tal, the big development coming out of at least the United States today, President Biden and his administration may be calling for a pause in the war. John Kirby, the Defense Department spokesperson, spoke why a pause in the war would actually be, in his words, a good thing. Let's listen to it real quick.
We're really not just talking about like one pause. What we're trying to do is explore the idea of as many pauses as might be necessary to continue to get aid out and to continue to work to get people out safely.
Tal, what's your take on this word pause here in the offensive that you have going on?
So, in fact, we've had humanitarian pauses and cessation of activity in the south in the 2 times in which Hamas released 2 hostages, 2 women and then 2 other women. So we are waiting to see and them releasing more hostages. We're calling on them to unconditionally and unequivocally and immediately to do so. And then we will be able to continue talking about further pauses that will facilitate the exit of more hostages. But in what pertains to humanitarian aid that goes to the Palestinians, we have allowed in, and you just reported, dozens of trucks with humanitarian aid that includes medical supplies and water and food that is arriving from the Rafah border crossing in the south between Gaza and Egypt to the safer havens that we have designated for Palestinian civilians in the areas of the southwest. We have called on them to evacuate there, and out of a population of 1.1 million in northern Gaza, I can tell you that around 900,000 Palestinians have already evacuated there. So humanitarian aid is something that we also coordinating with international counterparts and international organizations and the United Nations, and humanitarian aid is coming in. In terms of a pause as in a ceasefire, Bob, that is not negotiable right now. Israel will continue operating in Gaza, including our expanded ground operation that is ongoing as long as it takes to achieve the goal of dismantling Hamas, because we're not going to let them get away with what they did. They're still firing at us, keep in mind, 9,000 rockets in 26 days after they massacred 1,400 Israelis and injured more than something like 5,500. So we're not going to let them get away with it. They're going to pay for it, because we can no longer live like that.
Okay, Tal Heinrich, I want you to know that everyone here at NewsMax and what I would like to call the sane world is behind you in all of this. We wish you the best of luck. And again, our thoughts and prayers go your way. Okay, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.